What is up, nerd? It's me, your buddy, your pal, Hey Archer. Welcome back to my channel. It's funny. Once I bring the guest on, we're gonna probably laugh about that. But I actually had everything ready to go with like 6 minutes left, and all of a sudden my computer was like, "Nope, take a hike, buddy. We're not doing that on time today." So instead of being 6 minutes early, we're 8 minutes late. You know what? That's the name of the game. So if you're new here, of course, welcome here on Hey Archer Live. It is your show, not my show. So we'll play some games like Would You Rather. But of course, the conversation is driven by all of you at home and our guests today, not necessarily myself. But as always, let's head to the chat, of course, see who we got visiting. Solar Gravity in the house. Good to see you, buddy, of course. Rhino Dog in the house. Good to see you. Let's see who else we got. And of course, Aaron Waller in the house. Fantastic. Oh, and Senor Anthony in the house. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. And of course, thanks for your patience. Yeah, Anthony, as Anthony says, it is your show, not my show. So yeah, it's funny. You know what? we're just gonna roll into bringing on the special guest today. In the house, we have our good friend of yours, friend of mine, and the person who gets me through pretty much all my work time is done with this gentleman here. Paximus Enterprises, you are live on Hey Archer. Welcome to the show officially. How are you?
Officially. Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It was last night I was watching your show, and you went into your late night sessions, and of course we'll cover what your show is, but you're going into your late night, and I was like, why don't I just have Pax on the show tomorrow? And sure enough,
why not?
You were down, and I was happy to have you. So thank you for stopping by.
Oh no, thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan of the show. I love your show because of what you said. What you've already mentioned is that it's everybody's show. Like, you know, it just kind of, the conversation just, I like the fact that you can kind of go one way and then another, you know, just like, that's kind of how my mind works to begin with already, you know. So it's all good, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's funny. It goes, the show goes one way and the other way. My tech goes one way and the other way. So you're coming in really clear. You last night today you were doing an upgrade on your system, right? Or your internet?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was actually like starting to freak out a little bit because, dude, just like working with AT&T. I mean,
yeah, I imagine.
Can we talk about customer service, first of all? So all I'm saying is that it was just like, they said they were going to be here between 9 and 11. And it's like,
that's where you already messed up.
My time, it's 5:10 and they haven't shown up. So I'm like, oh, well, you know what? Forget it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's where you messed up by them telling you the time. And you're like, that's going to be it. I know it. They're going to be here on time.
See, that was your first mistake.
Yeah, you listened to us.
I should know better because, you know what's funny? I've been with AT&T for a long time, but like I had issues with like, you know, their internet service, and I don't know, they somehow kind of rope you in every time. So,
and you're out there in California, no?
Yeah, California.
Nice.
Southern California, where we're on the watch list.
I actually had to, or the little Easter egg today, for those of you who paid attention, on my Instagram, of course, I plugged the show, and I had the show Chips playing when I was plugging the show because California Highway Patrol.
I saw that. That was so good.
That was the Easter egg for you.
That was so good. I love that. That was great. I didn't even mention that before, you know, we started, but yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And of course, Andrew is in the house. And of course, I didn't even know if it played. Did my sound effect play? Let's try it again. My New York sound effect.
Nice.
For the New Yorkers. And I also see Mr. Mark is in the house. Good to see you. Actually, Rhino Dog here says, I will take AT&T over Comcast or Xfinity. Do you agree with that, or is Rhino Dog off?
So no, he is definitely like he's not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
As much as I hate AT&T, like with a pure passion.
Yeah.
I hate AT&T, but I have to agree with him. Like AT&T over those, I mean, that's why I haven't switched to anything else, to be honest. Otherwise, I probably would have a long time ago. But yeah, AT&T is pretty much the best.
At least you have options out there. Over here in the Boston area, I got like none.
Man, first world problems.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be complaining.
Yeah, but nah, we're allowed to.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, everybody who's in, of course, welcome again. If you've dropped in afterwards, leave a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video. We got some fun stuff in store. Subscribe if you have not done so already. Actually, last time I checked, we are approaching. We're three away from 300. So nice. Let's see if we get 300 by the end of the show. So if you are watching and have not subscribed yet, do so. Pax is also on his way to 300 or 250 and then 300, of course. Aaron Waller, who's in the chat, is on his way to 300. So if you've not subscribed to either Aaron Waller or Paximus, do so. But Pax, why don't we just go through, first of all, who is Paximus? This being the nerdy show that it is, you being the nerd that you are, I'm assuming, because everybody in the chat is a nerd. Or if you're not, you're at least nerd affiliated.
Yeah. What
was your first kind of nerd moment, nerdy thing? What kind of set you down that dark path, the dark side?
That's a good question. I have to say, honestly, it was Power Rangers.
There you go.
So I remember it like super well. I was in 5th grade. 5th grade is when it started. The moment I saw the Green Ranger, it was over. Like I have footage. I have an actual picture of me on picture day. What? with Power Ranger like t-shirt on and just with like the biggest smile you'd ever see me have. Like that's when I knew, and that's when everybody around me knew, like, oh, that's a nerd. Like you don't you might not want to associate with him because he's a little off. And so yeah, that's when I knew. I was like, I went down the nerd, route. Because up until that point, I was a musician. I did like sports and stuff like that. But then I got there. I got there to the Power Ranger thing, and I was like, dang.
That was it.
That's when I knew right away. I was like, okay, I'm a nerd.
It's Power Rangers was a strong one. That was, I think, because Ninja Turtles was my everything growing up. But I think the first show that like I was able to watch in real time and like actually like retain it, I think was Power Rangers actually.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I mean, I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons all the time. Like for me, it was Darkwing Duck. Yeah. Like I have a collection of like all the ducks in my room in the studio. Then I just cartoons is still something I watch to this very. So that's kind of how I don't know. I'm just a kid at heart,
I love it. So I mentioned at the top, and by the way, if you are doing your own YouTube channel, if you have your own content, go on your own podcast, in the comment section, let us know. You can type YT for YouTube. Shout out to Solar Gravity, also coming in hard in the YouTube game. But yeah, let us know in the chat for sure. But I mentioned that you helped me get through my kind of work moments, my studying moments, if we would. Tell the audience, what is it that Paximus Enterprises is, and what is it you do on your streams?
Yeah. So I've been an educator for like the last 8 years as a middle school educator. I also have experience as a technical arts director. So that kind of all intertwined. And then when the pandemic hit, I think, well, actually, just to back up a little bit, 2 years prior, I was trying to think through, I feel like I need to do something to help educate students where it's engaging, it's fun. And I kind of came across the idea of doing a podcast. So that's essentially how I got started on YouTube, freaking out about the idea because I was like, I don't want to show my grill on the internet,
Yeah.
Like nobody should have to really look at this too long, But then I started to realize, like, okay, if I truly want to inform and educate, which is a huge passion of mine, then I just got to try it. So I did like audio podcast, and then it led to this place where I started doing segments on my channel. So I did a podcast, then I did a vlog, and then I did a tech series, and then finally, to bookend all of it, I did this concept where it's about studying. And since we're in the pandemic, I was like, it'd be kind of cool, you know what I mean, to like study and like not feel alone. You know what I mean? Like you don't get to go to the library often, and you know, you don't have much interaction with people anymore. You know, it's this, you know, but somehow it just feels great to, you know, be in the same, I guess, room, and then listening to music while you're studying. So I was like kind of trying to come up with some sort of concept that I think would help everybody, including myself, because right now I'm in the middle of a master thesis, and that's just a whole different topic. But I mean, essentially that's where I got, you know, to starting the channel. And I feel like that's where my channel's really growing, is through this Meanwhile Studying with Paximus. And that's actually where I saw you more frequently. And then I would kind of go to your show because I like talking about everything nerdy, like movies and stuff. And I used to be a cinematic arts teacher. Oh. So like that's one of the hugest passions I have, is to educate students in like storytelling. And yeah, so I essentially did that, and you know, yeah, that's where we're at now, you know?
No, and it's funny. There's a lot of things in life that I seem to fall into where I'm like, all right, listen, as I verbalize this, I know it's not going to make sense, but you've really got to believe me on what you at least got to try it. But one of them is your show, your channel. And I remember talking to my girlfriend, and I'm like, so yeah, my friend Pax is going to be on the show. He's the one that does like the study session thing. And she was like, well, what is that again? And I was like, well, you know, he essentially just turns on some music. He's there. He's doing work. We take timeouts and we chat, and then we're back to work. There's a timer on it. And the thing that she actually connected to the most that she liked was the Forest app, because she had heard about it. And she was like, we did it yesterday. Actually, we had like 10-minute thing going. And that was the one where she's like, all right, I get it. And for a lot of people, I feel like explaining that, like, oh yeah, we're just, the video's on, but we're just kind of doing our thing, sometimes can be hard for people to kind of grasp.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the concept is like, well, I don't want to study. Who wants to study? Yeah. Right. But it's not limited to studying. So the idea really comes from a thing called the Pomodoro technique. It's just a fancy word for saying, look, we're studying for 25 minutes and then we take a break for 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, had I learned that as a little kid, like growing up in school, I think I wouldn't have had so many issues in school, to the point where it affected me greatly when I was in college. So yeah, it was just a concept that I think is it's just a really simple concept where everybody kind of like can do their own thing. Just focus on a singular task, whether you're video editing, you know, like, I don't know, hanging out with friends and family, listening to music in the backyard or something like that. Just a simple single task. And I think that's the misconception, is like, well, I don't want to study like that's nerdy. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's bookworm stuff. And I don't want to do that. So, you know, just hopefully with more exposure, people are like, oh, this is actually not too bad. Like, we can listen to music, and good music, in my opinion. Yeah. And just chill, relax, and or just focus on a singular task, and then take a break and interact with people on the internet, and just, yeah, it's a lot of fun to me. So yeah, no, I tell you, those of you, if you get a chance, like I said, head over to his channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when he does his next live study session. We'll go more into kind of all of that stuff, but I think, and I feel like at this point I need some sort of like music or some sort of transition for it. But we're going to play a game of Would You Rather. So, Senor Pax, are you ready for that? Yes, let's do it. All right. Sounds good. So, let's jump over to... All right.
And of course, when I reset the computer, it reset all the cameras. So we got to.
Yeah, we were having issues earlier, but we're good now, right?
We're good now.
Everything's
Yeah,
all right?
I think we're all right. We're doing
Like
fine.
more or less.
Yeah, more or less we're doing good.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I had my new like intro video thing at the top, so like I'll turn it on so everybody can see it. I had that going, and then I moved my mouse, and it like changed the sizing on it. It was just you know, that's just what Hey Archer is. I think that's why we all love it. Even now, it's struggling. There it is. All right.
Man, like it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
So again, if you have not subscribed, do so. Leave a thumbs up. I see there's quite a few of you watching today, so I appreciate you being here. In the game of Would You Rather, I read off, would you rather do blue or red? I read off the options, and in the chat, all of you can type in there blue or red. If you want to even explain why you chose one or the other, feel free to do so. And then I'll choose one, and we'll see if we match up with the rest of the world or if we're those weirdos that we probably already know we are. With that, subscribe if you have not done so. So today, our first one out the gate is, would you rather live in a treehouse or live in a floating boathouse? Mr. Pax, what do you have?
I mean, I'm not gonna even second guess that. Blue for sure.
Treehouse.
I just can't with the water and the boat, or like the idea of what, I don't know, living in a boathouse.
Yeah.
Boathouse. But I just like, I've always wanted the treehouse experience because I never had that as a kid. So I was like, treehouse for sure.
I instantly thought of the Treehouse of Terrors from The Simpsons.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. A funny boathouse story. So I actually, when I graduated college, I worked on boats. I got my license to be a merchant mariner and ended up working on tugboats. And this guy I worked for, he was a mate, lifelong mate. Like that's his thing since he was 20. And now he was like, at that point, he was in his late 50s already. And he was telling me about when he lived on a houseboat in Florida. And people used to come on the houseboat all the time just to like party with him and all that stuff. And he says one day he's sleeping and the boat starts to shake. And I apologize, everybody, if there's a lag, because right now I'm looking at Ecamm and it looks like I'm lagging. I hope it kind of clears up. But so the houseboat was rocking. He's like, oh, people are here to party. So he woke up and he didn't see anybody. He's like, oh, and they probably on top of the houseboat. So he climbs up to the top of the houseboat. Nobody's there. The houseboat keeps rocking. He's like, all right, goes back downstairs. And mind you, this was like this was a raft that he made and just built up on it. It wasn't like a legit boat. But what he did was he took a toilet and just kind of drilled it into the deck. So when you used the bathroom, there was no like flushing. It just went in the ocean. He noticed the sound was coming from over there. So he goes over to the toilet and lifts the lid, and there was an alligator like stuck in the toilet. This is the most Florida thing probably ever. There's an alligator stuck in it. It's shaking. And he runs off, and he's like, I just grabbed my gun and just started shooting, like not even looking at the toilet. And then it was gone. It was just gone.
See, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't do alligators.
Yeah.
And then again, I don't think anybody does.
No, not willingly. No. Unless you're in Florida, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gabriella, of course, welcome to the show. Definitely pointing out I have a bit of a delay, but I think you're actually going good. So I think it's really my end.
Okay.
So all right, so everybody seems to be on your side. Everybody's going blue on this. I'm also going to go blue.
Nice.
Rhino Dog confirms that's a Florida man story. So here, let's select blue and see what we got. Yep, 59. Let's run through another one here. Of course, I'll switch back to a regular camera just in case it is not safe for work, because that tends to happen from time to time.
Well, right.
All right. Actually, yeah, I just ran into two of them that would have not done very well here. Oh, you said, all right. So you said you taught cinema. So
Yeah, I did.
let's go over to this question and then we'll dive into that from Groundhog Day. So, have you actually seen Memento?
Okay, so I haven't seen that one. That's with Guy Pearce, right?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I always remember seeing that, like the cover of it, and I know Guy Pearce was in the movie The Count of Monte Cristo, so that's the reason why I know he's on that movie. But I never saw it. Groundhog Day, you're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me. I haven't seen it. I've seen it in like fragments. Like I've kind of gone in and out. You know.
Yeah.
Well, Darkwing Duck was on. That's all I'm saying. Like, like priorities, folks. Priorities. You know.
Fair.
So Groundhog Day, I would say probably is what I would go for, just because it's more like it's Bill Murray. You know, and it sounds like a good movie.
It is a really good movie. It was funny as you were talking just on the. It's funny even today, like as I was doing things, like things were just like breaking and happening. My light keeps going off, my side light here.
I just saw that.
So I'll work on that. But so you haven't seen either one, is what you're saying?
I haven't.
All right.
But if I were to lean somewhere, well, maybe if it because you've seen Momentum.
Yeah.
So okay, well, maybe tell me a little bit about it.
So the guy I saw it once, and it was one of those movies that I saw because people were like, "Oh, it's so cool, it's so great," and then you're like, "Oh, it's super artsy," but then I was like, "All right, I'm getting bored here. Like, I get it, it's a different concept, didn't do it for me." But in the movie, essentially, he keeps waking up, and oh man, people in the comment section, let me know if I'm off here. Aaron, I wonder if you've seen it. He wakes up every day and he leaves notes for himself. Like, all right, he wakes up and the first note is like, "Your name is Hey Archer." And he's like, "All right, I know my name is Hey Archer. Where am I? Who am I? Blah, blah, blah." And then he'll go through the day. And then the movie, like the next scene is him waking up again. And it's like, "You're Hey Archer." And the next part is like, "You're stuck in the basement." And it like keeps building through it. If I'm recalling this correctly. And of course, those of you may remember College Humor with Donald Glover. They made fun of it with the mouth-based video game. That was a play on Memento. So it's not a comedy at all. So or automatically Groundhog Day is going to win in my book because of Bill Murray, of course.
But you know what? So if it's an artsy type of film, I'm into that kind of stuff, to be honest.
So you might like it.
So I don't know. So the idea is that he leaves notes for himself and then wakes up the next day and
then there's a note, like there's an added note to it.
Interesting. I don't know. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that for sure.
Yeah. So red.
All right. Let's see what everybody went for. I'm seeing a lot of I see Bill Murray in here. Yep. And the world 65-35 went with Bill Murray. All right, so let's jump back to our regular camera. And hopefully the lag worked from we got Skype to finally work.
Oh, yeah.
That might just be it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because I was like, even recently I was saying that I'm like, oh, I don't really need to buy anything else. Like, I've set up the computer. I've set up the cameras. Everything's good. I'm plugged into the internet directly. And now that the computer's doing this over Skype, I'm like, nah, I think I need a new computer.
You're like, man,
yeah,
I thought we were good.
I thought
we were good.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off Chrome. Oh, you know what was working earlier? Remember, I turned off the cam on Skype. So let's try that real quick. This is the Charlie Foxtrot. That is Hey Archer live. So if you're new here, you definitely want to subscribe for more of these. All right. So go ahead.
Over.
Exactly. So we were talking about.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, dissertation or master thesis.
Yep.
So been working on the master thesis for the whole summer pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic is on homework. So if you're you've always wondered like, hey, what would the world be like if we didn't have homework? you might be interested in what my master thesis has to say. It doesn't necessarily talk about like taking out homework completely, but it looks that way from like the first couple of chapters.
Got it.
Yeah. So so I was doing masters. I just realized, like, man, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of research. Something that I've been having issues with throughout the summer. If you follow me on my channel, like you definitely know, I know that I've been having issues with that. But for whatever reason, I love it. I love writing about this topic of homework. I find it, because I feel like there needs to be a little bit of a discussion or a recourse on homework and how homework's, rolled out and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes sense.
So what was it specifically that like made you say, because you were saying about the homework portion, you were saying that was always like a struggle point for you. So was there a beyond, and they're like, well, maybe you're just going to be doing this whole, thing on homework because you just think homework's stupid. Like, did you have to almost like sell them on, I could explain to you why homework isn't the best thing for kids and for learning?
Well, it's kind of funny because for me, when I brought up the idea, my professor said, run with it.
Really?
Like, run with it. The reason why, think of it in these terms. I was a 2.0 kid, like GPA 2.0 into my master's. Like, you have my permission again, because I also think that that's not healthy either. So part of my master's thesis is out homework. What's the purpose behind it? And is it just busy work? Because if it is, I think that's what's leading our kids down a certain path, especially.
I hope that this is recorded. Like, man, this thing is really, I'm sorry about that, Pax, that this is.
No worries. And I